I'm Christine Dunbar from SpeechModification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at the word behind and other words with that prefix with the letters BE, like between, before, beside, beyond, etc. So looking at this word behind, the letters BE, when they're by themselves, like to be, have the E sound, and they sound like a tense E, like the word be. Um, Sorry, that's so small. My spellings, my handwriting's a little squishy. So be is misleading in words like behind and between because we don't actually use that E vowel there. That's because in a word like behind, the stress is on hind, and so that BE gets a reduced vowel. In the dictionary, you'll see it as an I vowel. That's I is the vowel in words like it and did. And you can think of it as an I, but I often will think of it more as a schwa, like an sound, because I think for most people, when they see this I vowel, they tend to have a pattern of using more of an E, um, or 2/10 of a vowel in a word like did or it anyway. The difference between did and deed, it and eat, is not always an easy one for non-native speakers. And so if you try to go from behind to behind, you may still end up on behind. Now, that's still okay if you, as long as your hind is stressed and your bih syllable is short and reduced. If it's a little tense, a little bit like behind, it'll be fine. And you'll actually hear native speakers do this sometimes because we're also influenced by that letter E into thinking it's a little more of an E sound. But naturally, in connected speech, if I'm saying it's behind the door, I'm behind her in line, I am really using that reduced vowel I, almost all the way reduced down to a schwa. So the difference there is between E, the high tense vowel, I, the high front lax vowel, and the central lax vowel, is just how high my tongue is and whether or not the vowel is tense or lax. So what you really want to focus on is keeping it short. That's the first priority. You can use almost any vowel there, behind, behind, behind. You can't hear too much difference as long as the rhythm is correct. Next, you want to focus in on ideally getting the behind, that reduced vowel that's an I sound. Or if it's easier for you, think of it as an You'll be more likely to end up in the right place if you're thinking schwa, behind, because you won't have that tendency to get too tense. It'll move you away from that behind error, which you might end up with. So I definitely don't want any stress and I don't want a clear vowel on that first syllable. Then for the second syllable, we just have that tense, that diphthong I, just like in the word I, in I like this I, or you can also think of this as the word high or the word high with an nd, hind. So here the error tendency is that sometimes that diphthong just turns into more of an and people end up with behind. Just make sure that you complete your I, closing and relaxing as you say that I vowel. To do that, you might want to just try saying hi and then adding your consonants at the end. High, hind, behind. You also may notice that when we say behind, we don't always release that D. Behind the, you can hear I make a bit of a stopped D. Stop consonants at the ends of words, we tend to do them in an unreleased way, depending on what follows next. If I say I'm behind in my classes, then I'll link and put that D on the next word, behind in. If I say behind the door, I just stop my D and release right into the TH. You can learn more about how stop consonants link, what we do when we say them by themselves, and when they're followed by a vowel or a consonant in our videos about stopped sounds. Do check out our Sounds of English course where we talk about all of the different sounds that you're learning about in these Word of the Day videos, how they're spelled, what accent patterns to watch out for. That's on speechmodification.com. And some of the more advanced things having to do with linking and connecting the words, stress patterns, you can find in our American Accent 6-week course, also on speechmodification.com. All of our courses are either free or available for under $2. They're a really good resource for you for all of these fundamentals of pronunciation and accent. So behind is a similar, many other words that start with BE that are unstressed on the first syllable do the same thing. We have between, before, beside. And here you'll notice that with between and before, I wrote it again with an sound. All of them will have that I prefix. With before, if I say before, to me that sounds a little funny. So depending on what the next vowel is, you may not want to go all the way to a schwa. Before sounds better to me. You will also again hear sometimes before with a little bit of a tense, more tense E sound, even from native speakers. One exception I noticed when I was introducing it at the beginning, in the word beyond, because we have that y glide, we don't really do I in American English. So that's one place where we will say an E, beyond, excuse me. But it's still stressed on the yond, and you still want to be short there, beyond. Otherwise, you're looking for an I or even a schwa in these words beginning with BE. Excuse me. So I'll be back again tomorrow with another Word of the Day class. And on Friday, we'll have our live question and answer class. I hope you can join us there. Thanks for those of you who have subscribed to the channel, and a special thank you to our channel members. I really appreciate your support. You can get more details on channel membership by clicking the join button. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in our next class. I'm Christine Dunbar from SpeechModification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. SpeechModification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you soon.